My writings have gone Hollywood. Actually, it happened in 2005, and I believe that at the Academy Awards this year, I noticed none of the men on my marriage list showed up at the red carpet, which I thought was rather interesting, and I think they're up to something. Back in 2006, they created a movie based on my, at that time, unpublished writings called Catherine of King David. Those writings have now been published in The Forbidden Abyss Part 1. And from what I understand, this is all brain-to-brain communication. My men are working with Steven Spielberg and some Hollywood producers to remake that movie, which they originally called Catherine of King David. And I think it still is retaining that title. And I just got really excited because the book that I'm working on right now, Jesus the Eternal Bridegroom, is kind of like an overlap. It's going deeper into The Forbidden Abyss Part 1. The Forbidden Abyss Part 1 kind of presented an overview of my life from 1990 to about 2011 when Brent Spiner contacted me online. And the Jesus, the Eternal Bridegroom, goes deeper into our thoughts and our hearts and what we were thinking and feeling. And I actually created kind of like a soundtrack to any movie that would be made from a combination of The Forbidden Abyss Part 1 and Jesus the Eternal Bridegroom. And here is music that reflects the themes of Jesus the Eternal Bridegroom. And if these music pieces were incorporated into, I actually created a soundtrack, and it's a link underneath this video. If these music pieces were incorporated into a movie made from my writings, they would be very appropriate. And Only Make Believe, Until There Was You, that resonates with the relationship of me and Brent Spiner in 1991. Only make believe I love you. Only make believe that you love me. Others find peace of mind in pretending. Couldn't you? Couldn't I? Couldn't we? Make believe our lips are blending in a phantom kiss or two or three. And then another song from Music Man. There were bells on the hill, but I never heard them ringing. No, I never heard them at all, till there was you. There were birds in the sky, but I never saw them winging. No, I never saw them at all, till there was you. And then Maria, the song from West Side Story, represents the wonder of true love between me and Brent from 1990 to 1992. The most beautiful sound I ever heard. Maria, Maria, Maria. All the beautiful sounds of the world in a single word. Maria, 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 Maria. I just met a girl named Maria, and suddenly that name will never be the same to me. Maria, I just kissed a girl named Maria, and suddenly I found how wonderful a sound can be. Maria, say it loud and there's music playing. Say it soft and it's almost like praying. Maria, I'll never stop saying Maria. Then we have Two Steps from Hell, and that represents Jesuit intrusion into our relationship in the form of Laurie McBride, and that's a fast-paced action song. All I Ask of You represents the time when I offered my hand in marriage to Brent in December 1999, when I realized that Laurie McBride was a Vatican agent. No more talk of darkness, forget these wide-eyed fears. I'm here, nothing can harm you. My words will warm and calm you. Let me be your freedom. Let daylight dry your tears. I'm here with you, beside you, to guard you and to guide you. And then Jesus Christ Superstar represents Jesus' impact on our relationship through earthquakes, signs, and wonders that would increase as the relationship progressed, and the reaction of Satan's followers, the Jesuits, to this. Jesus Christ Superstar, do you think you're what they say you are? Jesus Christ Superstar, do you think you're what they say you are? Okay, somewhere represents the promise that Jesus gave to me in November 1992 that someday Brent and I would marry and be able to get together in peace in the millennium and perhaps on earth as well. There's a place for us, somewhere a place for us, peace and quiet and open air, wait for us somewhere. There's a place for us. Anyways, you don't have to be a star represents my attitude to the men on my marriage list, where I fall in love with them not because they're famous, but because they're great on the inside. You don't have to be a star, baby, to be in my show. Nimrod from the movie Elizabeth represents the death and suffering that Jesuits have brought into the world, like through September 11th, 2001, and their murder of some of the men on my marriage list, like Robin Williams and Jim Carrey, who've been replaced. Jim Carrey has been replaced with a Jesuit clone, and this movie represents why we have to execute Jesuits. Zach Knight's got something playing in the background, which might mess up this video, but Scheherazade represents Gail's right. My computer is making like some really loud humming noise. Scheherazade represents my writings, which are inspired by the love of my men, and most especially the love of Brent Spiner. And what's really interesting in the 2014 Olympics, our Olympic gold medalist won a gold medal, Cheryl. The other video just lost sound, so I had to redo the second half. But what I was saying was that Scheherazade, in a movie made from my writings, would be a music theme that would represent my writings, which have been inspired by the love of my men, and most especially the love of Brent Spiner. And like I said, in the Olympics, the 2014 Olympics, Meryl and Charlie won the gold medal for Olympic ice skating, ice dancing, I think it was. It was an awesome performance, and it was done to Scheherazade. And as I was watching that, I felt like the Lord was trying to say, hey, I'm hinting to you about the impact that your writings are going to have on the world, Gail. I'm using the Olympics to give you some messages, and also Jesus Christ Superstar, with a Russian ice skating team, won gold medal. And both of these pieces of music would be featured in a movie made from my writings, I believe, if they follow my suggestions. Scenes from Jesus of Nazareth represent Jesus's personal appearances to my men and his direct conversations to me through Brent Spiner and Terence Jenkins through Skype. Endless Love represents my commitment to my men for eternity, and that Jesus has approved of my marriage list. My love, there's only you in my life, the only thing that's right, my first love. Your every breath I take, your every step I make. The Impossible Dream would be a really good climax song, going into the true heart of Brent Spiner and most of the men on my marriage list. To dream the impossible dream, to fight the unbeatable foe, to bear with unbearable sorrow, to run where the brave dare not go, to right the unrightable wrong, to love pure and chaste from afar, to try when your arms are too weary, to reach the unreachable star, This is my quest to follow that star, no matter how hopeless, no matter how far. And then, Over the Rainbow represents the millennial marriage of Brent Spiner and the men on my marriage list, and that this marriage will be officiated by Jesus himself, the marriage of me to Brent Spiner, in a world where there will be eternal love and peace. Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, there's a land that I heard of once in a lullaby. Somewhere over the rainbow, skies are blue, and the dreams that you dare to dream really do come true. Someday I'll wish upon a star. Anyways, that would be a wonderful end credits song for the movie. From what I understand, they are actually incorporating these songs that I suggested for a movie made from my writings, that, you know, writings about my life and the love of my men, and getting permission from all of the, you know, copyright holders for these songs to use this music in a movie that they have made or are making from The Forbidden Abyss Part 1 and Jesus the Eternal Bridegroom. I am actually giving portions up as I write Jesus the Eternal Bridegroom. The Jesus the Eternal Bridegroom is a very lyrical piece, and some portions of it read like poetry. So it would be any movie made from that, my writings would work really well as a musical. And from what I understand, this is what they're doing. And I believe they're going to give me executive producer credit because I've had so much input in this movie. Like I've given them suggestions about the score, about the music, about the beginning, middle, and end. You know, how to you can actually hear the beginning, middle, and end. You can kind of feel the beginning, middle, and end of the story as you listen to the soundtrack that I created for a movie that would be made from my writings, which I believe they're going to call Catherine of King David. It's going to be based on stuff they get from my YouTube channel, from my website, from Brent Spiner, because I believe he's the director, and Matthew McConaughey, Hugh Jackman, and Gerard Butler are all going to be having cameo roles in there because they're all part of my story. And I noticed that none of them were on the red carpet at the Academy Awards. I think they planned something after the Oscars to maybe show a portion of Catherine of King David as a highlight after the Oscars, in a secret Oscar ceremony honoring this movie. They did it in 2006, and I think they did it again this year. I've heard about it brain to brain. Anyways, listen to the link underneath this video, and it'll kind of give you a feel for a musical movie made based on my writings, and it would just, oh, the music would just, to me, it just makes me weep, you know? It's like God ordained this music to belong in my movie. That's how I feel when I listen to it. And Brent Spiner has been weeping as he's read Jesus the Eternal Bridegroom. And I believe he's directing the movie based on this. So, and I am going to get producer credit. And I think they're going to really try to get this movie out. See, when they made the other movies, they couldn't get them out. The Jesuits blocked it. But I think they're going to kind of find a way to work around some of the Jesuit blockades. And this movie, which I believe they're going to call Catherine of King David, I think is going to make it. So that's really exciting.